Yes, everyone, welcome back to XG Files. Stephen Howson, Ronaldo Brown. All right.
Yeah, no, I'm doing all right, man. Doing all swell. Don't understand why people actually say swell. Don't know why I just said that. I'm doing fine. Because doing swell, what does that mean? Because isn't usually swell like a negative? It means you're hurt. So something's swollen up. Right, anyway.
Fucking hell. Hi, everyone.
It's probably why I need the Red Bull.
Oh, my God.
Energize.
Honestly, having conversations with you is just eye-opening. Should we say that?
It's a good question, though. Just like this question, now what?
Now what? So, the window's ended. We have got the squad depth, haven't we? I'm going to pull that up on my phone.
Yeah, it's looking quite thin. It's not quite Arsenal thin, but if we're looking
How bad's them, man? They've just fucking launched their captain off.
They've just launched up where he basically did the old wing. He went to Barcelona to work for him with that CV cover letter. No,
Just turned up.
no deal agreed.
What's happening?
What's happening?
Right, so United's first team squad at the moment. We're probably going to be seeing the season out with.
Yeah.
We've got De Gea and Henderson. We've still got Tom Heaton in the mix as well. Shout out to Tom. Saw Tom last night at training.
Yeah.
We got Delo.
Got Grant still.
Wan-Bissaka, technically still, yeah. So you got Delo, you got Wan-Bissaka, you got Shaw Tellers, Varane, Lindelof, Maguire, Bailey. Technically still Phil Jones as well, because he didn't manage to escape on deadline day. McTominay, Matic, Fred, Pogba, kinda, Fernandes, Mata is not a deep midfield.
Nope.
When you need to play 3 out of them 5, and 2 of them 5 can play maybe once a month. That's worrying. Sancho, Lingard, he didn't manage to extract himself on deadline day, and his brother Louis been quite vocal about it. Probably not a good thing. Certainly not a good thing. Ronaldo, Cavani, Rashford, Alanga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 players.
21 players. Matchday squad is 16, usually, in terms of first team and bench. It's my issue with this whole squad depth thing where we've had a lot of people go out, obviously, and we've seen what's happened with Van der Beek and Martial and so on, and we've not actually brought anyone in. It's because we've still got competitions such as the FA Cup and the Champions League to contend with a busy schedule. We've got 7 games in the next 22 days.
Could break this squad.
Something along them lines. That could break this squad and that could turn our season. And the problem with this February 7 games in 22 days is that if our squad breaks throughout, like in terms of injury and suspensions or just generally thinning out, as often happens in this football, especially in the Premier League where it's quite intense and players are playing at quite a high level, we could have a thin squad going into March after February. And I'm sure all United fans have seen the fixtures that we've got in March. It's the biggest month of our season, and we can't be going into that slightly.
We're in squeaky bum
damaged.
time now because February is minging because of the frequency of games.
Yeah.
March, you've got the level of games, and then obviously if you're in any quarters and semis, that's April. And then obviously May is all being wrapped up. Hopefully top 4 finish. Hopefully get a cup final somewhere. But the likelihood of both of those things is slim.
Very. Because my worry is, obviously spoken to you about this as well, is because top 4 is so important on this final stretch of the season, and obviously the pressure to probably nick a little bit of silverware, FA Cup, Champions League, maybe. It's the fact that if we don't finish top 4 and we don't win anything, what does that mean for some of the players we do have in the squad? And whether they lose as well, whether you lose them. And then if you lose these quality of players because you are in the Champions League next season, then you go into a summer transfer window where are you able to have the pull required to get big names to kind of push us forward if we don't have Champions League football?
One season in and out. We're a bit okie with it at the moment, aren't we? We're 1 season in, 1 season out. We've not really managed to have. I mean, we have been consistent finishes inside there, but we haven't yet established that consistent top 4 finish for a chunk of time. It's been 2 seasons, but it's not been that real hardcore. We're there every year, no matter what, like it used to be. We're not there yet. If we manage to finish top 4 this season, I think it's a very positive because I think we can possibly kick on from here and establish that. This is a real key season. I think you tweeted it yesterday or the day before talking about how Arsenal,
yeah,
5 years now out of the Champions League. You ain't a Champions League side no more. It's half a generation away.
Yeah.
You're a Europa League
They've
side.
literally not been in the Champions League since 2016, 2017 season.
Wow.
And I was looking at the transfer window and I was thinking how Arsenal operating. Nearly every player that they went for, there seems to be this kind of dismissive nature from all players whenever they're linked to Arsenal, like it's almost automatic. It starts off as a joke, but I think it's generally a serious thing now. Yeah. And it's because...
Well, they're not necessarily known for offering great wages.
Yeah.
They don't have the budget to go above and beyond on wages. They'll offer good Premier League money, but not like... Yeah. They're not in that situation like Newcastle might be in where they'll spend to get you over the line. They can't offer you Champions League football. And also, you got to remember, it's going to reach a point soon where people would rather go to the likes of PSG to guarantee themselves silverware than come to the knife fight that the Premier League is.
Yeah.
If, like, Aston Villa have done some really good signings. If they also bring in Basuma as well, I think they'll have, obviously that's going to be in the summer. That's a really good 6 months of recruitment, I think, for them. On top of the recruitment that they did with the Jack Grealish money in the summer, they could really... Steven Gerrard might have absolutely nailed it with going to them. Thinking, the likes of... what's the Jamaican lad called? I forget his name.
Leon
Bailey. Not really hit the ground running.
I think he's been injured a lot as well.
But he's a player in there. And when he comes good, which he probably would have come good if Dean Smith was there, Gerrard's going to get the credit for that. Gerrard's going to get the credit that the midfield looks a lot more settled. Yeah, Basuma just came in and just locked it. Like... Some of the side, they're creating chances. That's what Coutinho brings. Like, he's going to get a lot of credit for what essentially the recruitment has brought.
But Coutinho doesn't come with
6
Gerrard's.
months beforehand. Maybe not.
If Gerrard's not the manager, Coutinho's not there. So.
But it'll represent 3 windows, potentially. Yeah. If they bring Basuma in and no one else, if they, that'll be 3 transfer windows that Villa have probably got an A in.
Villa, quite spendy, aren't they? I didn't realise they were as wealthy as they are. I saw something they are one of the more wealthier teams in the league at the moment. Have they got Egyptian owners or something along them lines? Correct me if I'm wrong.
They'll have gone through a period, essentially, 3 transfer windows where they've strengthened that side. Yeah. Now, they'll have done well. And when you've got teams like that doing that level of business and doing that well, the likes of Arsenal are going to really start to miss out because they'll have been overtaken. We saw Leeds coming in. I think, didn't Leeds finish above them or was it just level with them or something like that? But there are teams that are going to start coming in and just stepping right past them. You look at the top 4 at the moment, it's brutal, right? If United sneak into it, who's in the top 4 at the moment? It's City, Liverpool, Chelsea and us, right? I think that's the top 4. Then it's West Ham, then Spurs. Yeah?
Okay.
Arsenal don't get into that top 6?
Possibly not, but I'm thinking they've got 17 games left in their season. We are looking at the likes of Tottenham and Arsenal probably being the contenders alongside us for top 4. I think Arsenal and United are similar in terms of the transfer window probably were left a lot to be desired. And
that's one way of saying it.
But it's because it's such a big... There's so much riding on finishing in top 4 for both teams. And it's just that kind of thing where I'm looking at it thinking... There's a chance they finish 6. You wasn't worried, but I'm actually quite worried about Conte and Spurs.
Spurs are 7th, Arsenal are currently 6th, but Spurs level points with a game in hand.
And Spurs were meant to play Arsenal recently.
And actually, Arsenal have got games in hand over West Ham as well, but I don't have the confidence that they'll do it.
Arsenal are playing Wolves next.
Right.
Who have been in great form. And I don't know, it's going to be... I think it's going to come down to the last couple of weeks, top 4 race. It's going to be a tense one. But... My thought process is if Arsenal don't finish in the top 4, I think they're in big trouble.
They're not going to finish in the top 4.
I think they've gotten to that stage though where that transfer window opened my eyes and was like, every player that they're linked with now don't want to go there because they don't see ambition or a vision or they don't see a club.
They kind of laugh at them a little.
Yeah, they don't see him as like, a big club I'll go to in England because they're in Champions League and they're fighting for stuff, which is going to be a problem for them, especially all their players that are keeping them afloat are their young players, academy products. And it's actually a concern for them that those players might leave. I think a lot of players...
Someone big comes in for Smith Rowe, he could be like, do you know what? I want to play Champions League football, it's in a bit.
Exactly. That's what I put in a tweet. I said, players scoff the idea of playing for Arsenal now, and the players that they do have often look beyond them when they're there.
So I wouldn't even say often. I don't think there's many people seeing... And this is one thing that hasn't happened to United yet, and I think that's when you know you've been passed by. Outside of maybe Pogba, most players do see United as the destination. Bruno, I get the impression he sees United as the destination. You know, some of the other decent players that we've had, I think, do see United as the destination. There's only Pogba that you get the feeling that he, is looking to move on constantly. But even if he goes to Real Madrid, I don't know if he knows. I don't know if that's the destination for him still. I don't know if he's just going to be like Zlatan and just have a new fucking club every couple of years. You know what I mean?
Could does look like he could be approaching that, but
it's been 6 years here now, though.
Yeah, it's been 6 years. But the thing is, with the squad being thinned out even further, whether he's committed to us or not, unfortunately, we're probably at his mercy a bit. Where
he's got to play.
We are going to have to play.
If
him.
he's fit, he's playing.
Especially because we've just explained how big this final run in the second half of the season is going to be for United. United came into this season expected to challenge for the title. At the moment, we're nowhere near. Looks like we're going to be nowhere near. And now we're in a top 4 race. The squad we started with shouldn't be in a situation where we're struggling to finish in the top 4 or in a race at all. Especially because we know the repercussions of not finishing in the top 4 as well by the end of the season.
Yeah. One of the comments here from Ryan C. Arsenal are a stark image to what we will end up if we carry on the way we are. The worrying thing is, I think that United's board looked at Arsenal as the model, actually. Don't spend a lot, maintain top 4, stay in the Champions League, and spend just enough to remain competitive in the Champions League.
So is that something to do with both clubs, United and Arsenal, have got American owners?
I don't think it's just an American thing.
They both
because
have
some
NFL
American
teams.
owners can go mental, yeah.
Because what's confused me is what I was going to say is the Kroenkes have the LA Rams, the Glazers have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The way that those two owners operate with those two NFL teams is a stark contrast to the way they do with United and Arsenal.
And what's interesting,
they're big
as well
spenders.
There's also a big pot that comes in.
Yeah.
So isn't there situations with the NFL where you're almost given your money because it's a collective earning in the NFL?
I'm not too sure about
like all of the
economics.
licensing.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a cut of it. There's no one's walking around here with Premier League t-shirts on, are they? But the NFL sells its own merch. You know?
Yeah.
So I think the only thing that gets collectively done like that is the TV stuff, which obviously is a massive revenue pot for everyone. It's probably everyone's biggest revenue provider, hundreds of millions a season.
Exactly.
But when our board are looking at Arsenal as the way to run, to just spend enough, like if we said, look, it's going to cost us 500 million to be the best team in the world, or 200 million to get top 4, they'd be like, there's your 200 million. Just stay in the top 4. And when you look at that's how Arsenal were run, but look where Arsenal are now. We're going to go down that same path because you're not competing against other teams to get in the top 4. When you've got people that are saying, I want to be the best team in the world, which Liverpool aren't doing it as spendy, but Chelsea are doing it and City are doing it on a spendy level. When you've got people that are, whether you agree or disagree with their methods, the people at the top of those football clubs are saying, I want the best team in the world, get me the best of everything. I want the best director of football, I want the best manager, I want the best players, I want the best training ground, I want the best sports science, I want all these best things. And we're asking, my mate's uncle will do it cheaper. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That's the vibe. You can't overtake the teams trying to be the best when you're only trying to be just good enough. We're putting in the minimum effort. I'm surprised that it ain't good enough.
I don't know, though, because I feel like last transfer window, if you're getting in Ronaldo, Varane and Jadon Sancho for 70 million, I think your aspiration's a little bit higher than finishing in top 4.
That's because that's the superficial shit. We're not investing in the training ground. We're not investing in the backroom staff. We're not investing in the tiny things that'll get us the extra 1%. You're buying Tom Brady and hoping he'll win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what we just did.
Tom Brady did, though, for the Bucks.
Yeah, and that's it. But that's it. They're thinking that one play will make a difference. No, you need a squad to win football matches.
Yeah.
and you need a constant investment to stay at the top. When you've got, we don't just compete in a single market. We're not competing just against the blue lot in our city. We're competing with Liverpool. We're competing with Chelsea. We're also competing with Bayern Munich, Juventus, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain. We're competing with like a lot of the big cities in Europe. It's a bigger pond.
Is a Rory fall behind though?
Is what?
Is there actually a genuine concern we fall behind?
I think we already have.
Because we're falling behind, and we're falling behind a little bit faster than we'd like to admit. Because all those little 1%ers and those intangibles that you're explaining then, as much as you wouldn't like to believe it, those are the things that the likes of Man City are doing really well. People sees a lot of them stuff like they invest on the pitch, but they invest a lot of stuff off the pitch when it comes to stuff like those trading pitches and how they kind of operate. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting quite annoyed seeing how far behind we are falling behind City. And it's year in, year out. Everything goes back. Every single thing at the football club goes back to the owners. Yeah. Because the owners tell you what the blueprint of the club is. You own a club, you come in and you say, this is what I want. You bring people in that push that vision of yours forward. If they're not pushing that vision, you sack them. Ed Woodward had managed 9 years at the helm of Manchester United. Yeah. And failed in basically every metric. And even though people go, well, he got some big sponsorship deals. All right, I thought this was Manchester United. You should be batting away big sponsorship deals. I think we left so much money on the table with so many different opportunities that we didn't take. They claim to have 600 million fans worldwide. It's nonsense. We don't. The actual survey, because I'm a fucking bad enough nerd to go and research what this stuff was. You don't take headlines of surveys, which is what United did. They said, we've got 600 million fans worldwide. No, you don't. 660 million fans worldwide. The survey that they conducted was, I think it was around 150,000 people were asked, do you recognise this logo? Recognise, not follow it. Is this your team? So do you recognise it? Now, if you're a Liverpool fan, are you going to recognise the United logo? If you're a Barcelona fan, you're going to recognise 10% of the people that they asked, which was a complete random, I think it was multi-continental, multi-generational, obviously, male and female. Everybody that they asked, 10% of the people that they asked said, yes, I do. And they extrapolated that to the world and said, right then, so 10% of the people that we polled, that means 10% of the world follows United. No, it doesn't. It means 10% of the people that you polled recognise the United logo. Maybe 15% of them go, yeah, and I'm a United fan. A Barcelona fan might have gone, oh yeah, I recognise that's the United logo, but I'm a Barcelona fan. You didn't ask that question, and United took a headline differently to everything else. But even if you take them at their word and say, right, we're getting 600 million fans, you're not getting £1 per fan. You're not getting £1 per fan. I'm paying over £1,000 a season in there. So when some fans, and there's obviously all the season ticket holders, people who are buying shirts are putting in way more than £1 per season, you're not getting anything out of the vast majority of your fans. That's not good business. No, it's not at all, but we can literally go on and on and on for like how badly run United have been and the concern that we do have in terms of looking into the future. And you've obviously often talked about the Glazers not really caring so much about titles and winning things. They just care about that.
I don't understand them. I really don't.
You said they just care about one of their main priorities on the board whenever they season to season is top four. That's all they're asked about.
Top four because it brings a certain prestige and a certain
revenue.
Amount of revenue guaranteed to come in with being in the Champions League, and that's it. Because if you're maintaining Champions League status, whether or not you're winning stuff, and I believe the Dallas Cowboys are their model for this. The Dallas Cowboys not won a Super Bowl in forever.
26 years.
But they're still one of the most valuable franchises
in the world.
Any
sport,
that's their model. Is that if you're in the Champions League and you're in the top four, you're relevant. Therefore, we can do the Dallas Cowboy method and do X, Y, and Z. But you can't run a football club the same as you can run a closed league like the NFL. You're given your best talent every year. It's not the same in football. You have to find it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the free trade thing. How many good free trades are there? 1 or 2 every couple of years, maybe. Most of the squads are assembled through the draft, aren't they? Is that true?
Yeah.
So,
And that it's the draft. It's draft, free agency, whatever. So players come out of contracts, and then the free agents, and then you go into the market, and then it's the highest bidder. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but I think in those sports there's a lot more parity though in NFL.
Well, of course, yeah. You finished bottom. It's funny because Americans hate communism, and their sports are communist. Like, you finish at the bottom, you get the first pick of the next best lot of talent to keep it that constant.
And your salary caps are high to keep the parity, because obviously you're looking at, there's not a level playing field, for example, in the Premier League. From if you're looking at Brentford and City, there's no parity there, is it, in terms of the club spending power and so on. And what I wanted to also touch on in terms of United's concerns about the near future, it's the fact that we've got another club that's going to be making their way into that mix of challenging up, and that's Newcastle.
Precisely.
And I think Newcastle United are going to get there a little bit faster than Man City did.
Well, they've seen the pathway, haven't they? And they also haven't got fucking Gary Cook doing it at the top. What an absolute clown he was.
No, because look, they almost spent 100 million in January, Newcastle.
Not such the sides.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that's in January with no Premier League confirmed for the end of the season. Yeah, imagine what Newcastle do in the summer if they stay up in the Premier League. Yeah, they're gonna be sending £150 million bids for Neymar and stuff. 100%. I thought that was a joke when I saw it happening, but Newcastle looks serious about this kind of fast tracking their success. And they're going to be
They do. Again, as you got another owner who goes, I got a new plaything and I want to win stuff.
But City were a bit slower though, weren't they? They're a bit more gradual.
No, but they tried it immediately. Like, one of the takeover from Abu Dhabi was that they had to sign someone big on the first day, and that's why they signed Robinho.
Yeah.
And then from then, they were struggling to get people to join the project, and they signed some good players. They signed Company before the Sheikhs came in. He was under Frank Sinatra when he came in, Taskin Sinatra. So they'd already been spending for a couple of years before and under the previous regime, but he was like a literal crook, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So they had been spending money. It's not like they were like this broke club before the Sheikhs come in. They'd had a couple of seasons. I think they had Sven just before Mark Hughes. I think they had, was it Sven? Was Stuart Pearce in the mix as well at some point? But yeah, like, I think they'll go turbo for it because the game's changed. The last 20 years, the game has completely flipped on its head, and Abramovich started that.
That's flipped. We talked about it as flipped because of the Chelsea business model, and whether you like it or not, Chelsea's business model has made them the most successful English club in the last 20 years. Is it last 20 years? 20 years or so since 2000, since Roman's come in. And as I said, Newcastle run away. I know some people have said financial fair play and that, but I remember seeing that apparently.
That's toothless.
I think Newcastle have.
City just do what they want. I think someone go fuck themselves.
No, but I think Newcastle have 200. The people are saying that they probably have around 250 mil to play with in the summer.
Ashley's been just selling and selling and selling and selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Newcastle can do a lot with 250 mil in the summer, especially where I think Newcastle go half and half. They're going to go for a few big names, but they're going to do those sensible. Ones, yeah. I'm going to buy some of the better players in the lower end of the Premier League, like they did with Dan Burn. We thought they were going to do that initially, and they did do that. They tried to take decent players from decent teams in the Premier League.
To be fair, that's what every successful team has done. They've gone for players and places that have been proven in the league. That was a successful model for Barcelona. It's been a successful model for Juventus.
Barcelona screwed the market though a little bit in it as well.
Previously. So Barcelona previously, their best players that they buy have all been La Liga proven.
Okay.
They haven't had too many. They've had some, but they haven't had too many that they've imported and have been amazing. Their best, like United's, arguably United's best proving ground is the Premier League. The players that we pick up in the Premier League, Rooney, Carrick, Rio, these are the players that have worked. There's obviously been some that didn't work out as well. Yeah, Alan Smith and people like that. But like Mostly,
Depends
like
how it
pretty
works
good, pretty good success rate from buying within your league because you know that the adjustment period. If you're buying someone from Brazil or Argentina, the adjustment period for them adjusting to their first country outside of where they've played all their life might be a bit rough. But if they've come in, they've done a season somewhere else, the adjustment period is going to be a lot less, and the risk factor is a lot less if they've already played in the league. That's why the South Americans, Dani Alves, etc., that Barcelona have bought, they've been more successful generally when they've already played in the league a little bit more successful.
Yeah.
I've got a super chat here from BM. Liverpool hired 2 more sports psychologists this season who specialise in the psychology of corners. They're now the top corner scorers this season. You know what I mean?
It looks like almost like clubs operate. It's almost like this podcast has been more like why United could be in trouble. That's what it's felt like.
Well, one of the now what's that I was thinking about as well. So I'm going to do a video next week on it's the FA Youth Cup next week. United have got Everton midweek. Tough game in the FA Youth Cup. Yeah. I think it's away off the top of my head. I'm going to do a bit of a preview for it. I'm going to look into it. I'll give you a bit of a cheeky one. Charlie McNeil's who we're looking at, I think. And I actually think there's half a chance we might see him in the first team this season. Off the bench, obviously. I don't think he's going to be starting. But I think Charlie McNeil, you're going to see. I think Hannibal Mabry is going to be given an opportunity. And then I think the 2 boys that we saw in the Champions League, Zidane and Charlie Savage, I think.
So
I expect to see them padding out that bench.
So as you saying, all right, I'm all for youth, all for giving opportunity. Probably going to be forced into it with the squad being so thin going into the rest of the season. My problem is that it depends on the timings, isn't it, in terms of where United are looking to get to, how literally every game that we play for the rest of the season is a big one in terms of how tight the top 4 race is and in terms of winning the FA Cup and the Champions League or getting further in the Champions League. Are we going to have the opportunity to kind of bed in unproven youngsters and it be successful?
Mason Greenwood was one of the only youngsters I've ever seen transitioned into a first team almost deliberately.
But often that happens when you're far. That happens when you're far and away, like almost a child prodigy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. Like, but sometimes you got to go and fill in because, like Brandon Williams was thrown in because there was no one else. Rashford was thrown in because there was no one else. Alanga has kind of worked his way in.
Yeah,
there's not a deliberate, planned out pathway. Mason was literally the only one that I've ever seen that had a pathway that looked deliberate and like he's going to be in for a game, out for a game, in for a game, out for a game. No one else has done that. They've all had to grab their opportunity. That someone's been injured, someone's been out of form. You've just found yourself on the bench. That guy went down injured. Now you're in the team. Those are the ways that youngsters, 99% of the time, get their opportunities. So if McNeil gets it, it's Droylsden boy as well. So fucking, you know we're all about that. If he gets the opportunity, and I believe he's absolutely mad for it as well, like just a proper United fan from Droylsden. You need a bit of Droylsden bite in the team as well. If him and Mengi can get into the team, fuck the lot of you. Bringing a bit of that East Manchester aggro to the place. That's what we need to do, innit?
It's just the pressure it comes with, though, innit? Like playing for United, we know playing for United is
mad.
It's just mad, innit? It's one of them where, as a youngster, it's the scrutiny.
You know, right?
It's the scrutiny. It's the
you've
pressure.
You've got friends playing Premier League and Championship right now.
Yeah.
Right? They're actually chilling, most of those, aren't they? Not having too much off the field drama, not having too much on the field drama, just getting on with it.
Yeah.
None of them play for United, do they?
No, but I'm saying it's even it's an inter-Premier League thing. You play for United, the pressure and the scrutiny, and then you just go probably one tier down. It's nothing like it. And I think we saw that with Lingard's tenure at West Ham. That was the perfect example. Lingard was having an absolute nightmare of it at United, not rated, stinking it up. Yeah. Everyone thinking, well, he's going on like he's borderline the worst player they've ever seen, which is obviously not. But in terms of performance,
unreal.
He goes to West Ham and he's basically becomes, in that time period that he was there, one of the best players in the league performance-wise.
Do you think someone like McTominay would do that if we just switched around Rice and McTominay? Do you think McTominay would put in those
Isn't that
level
what
of performances?
someone kind of said?
Well, yeah, he was Lingard.
Yeah, basically. You might as well say it. Like I remember you telling me, Steve, saying that Lingard apparently said he actually went to West Ham on loan, and he's obviously up close and personal with Declan Rice. He knows McTominay. He's come back and said,
not much difference.
Declan Rice isn't much better than McTominay. So I don't know whether it's like you're playing for West Ham, you're playing for United, you look like you're in a better light. And if you flip Declan Rice and McTominay, would McTominay look great playing for West Ham? Because sometimes that's your level, because the level differences is just so big between playing for United and playing for those kind of clubs. Can only go off, like, it's a pretty reasonable source if it's a guy that's played years with McTominay and then played the whole season with.
Yeah. And he's obviously played international with Declan as well.
Yeah.
Charlie says, is top four gone now? We haven't strengthened the midfield. Will anything change now Woodward has left the club? We will find out, won't we? Obviously, we've no idea. We can only speculate. It sounds like, from the briefing that United give, we sort of seem to say, they sort of emphasised Judge is going to be a lot more hands-off. Kind of implies, without coming out and saying it, it kind of implies Woodward was a bit more hands-on.
Yeah.
And Judge is going to be a bit more like, let everyone have a bit more autonomy. Well, that can only be a positive thing. And that's what a good leader does. You don't need to micromanage. You hire good people and let them good people put their good ideas in play. That's the game.
Yeah.
Right, before we go into the next step, and John Neal's just mentioned in the comments as well, cheers, says the game's at Old Trafford next week. I think it's Wednesday. I think it's a 7 o'clock kickoff. It is at Old Trafford. It's usually free entry, so get yourselves down if you're not doing that. But I want to talk to you about balls, Ronaldo.
Talk to me about balls then.
So, our good friends at Manscaped are sponsoring today's video, and they're saying Cupid works hard in February, but our friends at Manscaped are working harder than ever to ensure that your Valentine's Day is one to remember. Don't turn the day of romance into Independence Day. I think that's a joke that you're getting dumped on Valentine's Day. You ever been dumped on Valentine's Day?
No.
Okay.
Have you?
No. And Control with their Performance Package 4.0, which includes their signature lawnmower 4.0. This February, join the 4 million men worldwide that trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com, use the code XG20, get 20% off and free shipping. Performance Package 4.0 leaves you with more than dating app notifications and Cupid arrows. It's a lovely bundle that comes equipped with the best looking tools needed to freshen up for a night out on the town. Listen, no one wants to be going there looking like Cousin It or Chewbacca, did he? Trim your shit.
Chewbacca.
Yeah.
View's looking like your beard, mate.
See, facial hair's fine. Ball and gooch hair, not so much.
Nah, it's not. Gets in the way a lot.
Got to tidy your shit.
Gets in the way, doesn't it?
Keep your shit tidy.
It's meant to be comfort.
In 2022.
In 2022.
Yeah. Keep your shit tidy. And, it is really good, high quality stuff as well. And like I've said many, many times, we know that you're going to forget to buy someone a gift at some point. So why don't you just go and buy loads of Manscaped, stack them up off to the side one day, and when someone goes, oh my God, what am I going to do for Uncle Tom's birthday? Bosh. Tell him to shave his balls.
I think you could have come up with a better name combination than that. But
what?
Anyway.
Uncle Tom. You not got Uncle Tom? Right, anyway, manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. Just go stock up on them and let them keep sponsoring the show. Happy? Happy. Right, so I think the now what, the big now what, and we can touch on a little bit, because I'm going to do a video later today for the fan channel talking about the very same topic, so we can touch on it a little bit, but I don't want to go too much into depth, and I'll get your opinion on it. Pochettino's been told to sling it in February, by the way.
Listen, ever since you've been anti-Poch, since I've been kind of trying to see both sides of it, I've come so much more towards your side of it. Like, I just don't. He don't scratch my itch.
He's just missing a je ne sais quoi.
I'm not going to try and say that.
He's not
hitting it. I don't know.
It ain't about him. Like, you've seen how he's had a little bit of pressure now, more so than he'd had at Spurs, more so than he had at Saints, where he'd done good. He'd done well, but again, I got a point to the recruitment, and the recruitment was quite possibly a lot down to Paul Mitchell at both of those places. So he's now at PSG. He can't get an absolute gimme of a forward free of Neymar, Messi and Mbappe. Mate, not only that, just go look at the rest of the squad. You've got Ramos in there. You've got Kimpembe in there. You've got Marquinhos in there. You've got Ander Herrera in there. Like, you can't make this team sing. Are you insane? Now, I know that forward free ain't working, but a good manager gets them working.
because he's gone from Southampton to Spurs, and then it's like a whole jumper caliber of players when he's gone to PSG, and he seems to not really be able to get the mix.
No.
And I think that's his PSG tenure will be more representative of what it would be like for him being at United.
Yeah.
Not quite with the same star power, but similar kind of level of egos and pressure. People can argue the same thing about Ten Hag, saying Ten Hag hasn't quite had the same kind of pressure.
But we've seen him rebuild.
But Ten Hag shows so much more potential. I think that, and from what I've read a little bit from ITKs, I saw they'd call themselves, he's saying that Ragnick does seem to have a bit of a preference for Ten Hag.
Because I just get the impression, because I know Fergie is a big fan of Pochettino. I just hope that we don't go for Pochettino.
Oh, Fergie's giving me a bit of the Michael Jordan owner vibes. Like Michael Jordan's the owner of the Hornets, and he's been terrible in hiring coaches and drafting players, even though he's one of the best sportsmen of basketball of all time. I get the same vibe from Fergie. Like I feel like
now he's out of the game.
Now he's out of the game. I feel like any manager he likes, or like they don't end up having the minerals or working out.
I just, I obviously support him if he comes, but I don't want him to come.
I really, really don't want Pop.
There's nothing like, we've tried the plucky underdog guy in Moyes, and it was so bad. Moyes is doing a great job now with a team of his level, and he could be the right fit for the right team. I just don't see Poch being the right fit for the right team. My worry is he's got a proven track record of working with not a great deal of funds, which fits the Glazers as far as I'm concerned. You think Ollie was a puppet? This guy's going to be a fucking glove puppet for him. Like, literally. And I didn't like the way, like, Ollie clearly is all about like extreme ownership, right? He would take the blame for everything, whether it was his fault or not. He would always come and go, players are great, that's on me, that was my mistake. Yeah, he put a lot of pressure and a lot of blame on himself. Pochettino the other day, how old's that Javi Simons? He's a teenager.
He's like 17, something like that.
Right? And he's like, yeah, it's not my fault. What are you doing?
Listen, I don't know, man. I don't want to be too, because if he does come,
Spencer says Poch is a better coach than Ollie. How? How are you quantifying this statement? Not necessarily saying I agree or I disagree. I'm saying, how are you quantifying this statement that you've just made? You're saying Poch is a better coach than Ollie. How? What he did at Spurs. What do you mean what he did at Spurs?
Took him to the Champions League final.
Okay, so you got to a final of a cup, like Ollie did last season. Right.
Where do we go? Europa League, Champions League.
Okay, it's a different level of competition, but you're only pissed with the cut you got. We was in the Europa League. Apparently, Southampton and Spurs were shy until Poch came along. Koeman got them finishing higher than Poch got them finishing. Thank you very much. And also, Spurs finished, on average, one place higher than they did pre-Poch, under Poch, at a time when Manchester United fell out of the top four. So, did they do miles better, or did United free up a space that they went and sat in? And also, the absolute capitulation of coming third in a two-horse race. He came second in a one-horse race last year.
Well, Lille, was it Lille that one? Oh, I can't believe.
Do you know what I mean?
Nah, he kind of ride the coattails of bringing Spurs to the Champions League final, which I will give him credit for because it's Spurs, and they shouldn't be sniffing Champions League finals. That club really, and I think since then his PSG kind of tenure has left a lot to be desired, and I think they've gone all in for the Champions League as well. I think that's the one thing that's missing from him. And he's finished second last year to Lille. He looks like he's having a bit of a way off it season this season with Messi coming in as well. He just doesn't look like he's got the kind of what it takes.
Seamus Nolan in the comments, super chat, and he says, surely the board see what Poch has done at PSG. It's a joke that he can't win with them. Just go and get Ten Hag. He'd do a great job with our young players, and he's proved what he can do on all levels, totally.
I just don't really, I've never gotten this Poch obsession from United. I think it's from his side as well. I think he's got this thing about him where he's just taking jobs and just waiting around, waiting for the United job.
Yeah, I got that impression as well.
Like I literally think as soon as the summer arises and he gets sacked from PSG, he's going to be outside Old Trafford with his own cover letter and CV.
Yeah.
That's
If
the thing.
Pochettino's such a good coach, why are we seeing zero coaching with PSG? Where's this style of play that he's going to come and implement at United? Yes, Spurs had a nice-ish style of play. It was attacking. It was a modern style of play.
Kind of aggressive and work hardy attack. It was just
a pretty generic, modern, all right.
basically the
above average
antithesis
kind of
of the personnel now he's got at PSG.
Yeah, and then you look at what's available now for him at PSG. You go, what is he capable of doing with these guys? I'm seeing fucking nothing. Imagine what a dream it'd be to go to train every day, see Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Ramos. Talk about setting standards.
I don't know, man. It's got to be 10.
You can't get these guys to play. We know these guys can play, but they're not playing for you.
Just hope we get Ten Hag and then bring Thingy with him. Van der Sar. Part of the Van der Sar thing, does that kind of make you feel like it can be a seamless transition in terms of taking Ten Hag off Ajax's hands?
I don't know.
Because I know that they run really well. Is it Overmars as well? Is it Overmars? It's Overmars.
Bergkamp's involved. I think it's more on the coaching side. Overmars, I think, might be director of football. Yeah. And these are all things that Cruyff put in place.
Yeah.
Players on the board. He liked what Bayern Munich did. Like Fergie did. Fergie wanted to do that. Fergie speaks about it in his book where he said he wanted that, and David Gill didn't want that. And he still wanted business people running it, which is fair enough, I guess, on some aspects. But you think football clubs should have a lot of football influence in them by nature. But as you just said, like Michael Jordan, Alex Ferguson, they might have been exceptional at what they were exceptional at, but outside of that, they might not have had the clarity.
The clarity of thinking. Because I think it's from down there ever since he appointed David Moyes, isn't it? Even though David Moyes has gone on to prove himself at West Ham, doing a pretty darn good job.
Nikos says Fergie wants Poch for a reason. He also wanted Moyes.
And he also thinks McTominay is the best thing since sliced bread.
Apparently, Atletico fans in Spain are describing United as an easy path in the cup. I can see it from their angle why they would.
I'm surprised though because Atletico Madrid aren't doing that well recently.
Apparently, so Clayton says third choice if Ten Hag says no thanks.
Do you know what I mean? But my issue is, I don't know if you all agree in the comments, I think Atletico Madrid's just not a great matchup.
Isn't he on like 38 million a year or no?
Who?
Simeone.
He's the highest paid manager in it. He's on racks.
Millions.
Atletico Madrid are quite spenny as well, surprisingly. Yeah. They do fork out the random, here's 100 mil for this player.
They seem to bring in, look at João Felix.
Yeah.
They seem to bring in some belting buys. Whoever their striking scout is, he's worth 100 million. Look at some of the strikers he's bought.
Anytime, if Atletico Madrid sign a random striker from South America, just
keep an eye on him.
Just keep an eye on him.
In fact, put a bid in for him. if they announce, where's he from? Venezuela. What's he called?
I've got...
Summer. Put a bid in.
I've got to worry about Thingy. That Alvarez kid that City have got.
He looks tasty. The problem is I don't know what the exchange rate is in South American football. Because it ain't one.
Well, in South America, they have been describing him as the best player in South America at the moment, young player, which is a concern because we don't want them to have just signed a 21-year-old Aguero to be.
No.
Which
they might have done.
Wouldn't be ideal because I know you liked him when you scouted him as well. So
yeah, I had a good watch of him and I was like, this guy's
it looks like he's got a bit in it. Yeah.
And sometimes you can see just a little bit. I mean, mind you, Palestri looked good. Yeah. Palestri looked good yesterday. He scored. Did he score?
Yeah, apparently played well yesterday. Now he assisted.
But international football, South American football, doesn't necessarily always translate to the Premier League. I'm seeing so many people go, "Oh, blah blah, just played well for whoever." Right, cool. International football shit. Most of the time, international football is just some massive team bullying someone.
Exactly. So that question for you. Interesting one for you.
Who would I pick over Klopp and Pep? Klopp.
There's not a chance you'd pick Pep in it.
No, there are. I'm getting tagged in all sorts of City fans because I said I ain't going to last 2 years. In my defence, I didn't think he'd be given like a fucking $1.5 billion to spend. Pellegrini would have won the league as many times with $1.5 billion to spend. And he was shit. He won a title. That's how good that City team was. Like if City had kept signing the same players,
I'd prefer Pep.
they'd have still won as many leagues.
I just don't like Klopp. I don't know. I can't describe why.
Once he's now got the Liverpool smell on him, that's him done. But
he's got more than
you can see how you would like him if he was yours and hate him if he's not.
I get you. What's your so what is your... I'm not going to get into this. I was going to see what your argument against Pep is, but I think I've heard that for years.
The bottom line is, if Pep rocks up to United and he's trying to play out the back with Chris Smalling, he's going to grow hair.
He's going to the board. He's going straight to the board and be like,
get me a player. We got your 8 by. And he's like, no, I need like 4 more centre halves. Well, you can only play 2, and you've got 2 there, and you've got Phil Jones. Like, when you look at, it's not necessarily about the value of the money spent. It's about how many first team players you've been able to bring in. And Pochettino gets away with this as well, because I think he brought in 27 players under his tenure at Spurs. Okay. And Pep's brought in something similar, if not more, during his tenure at Manchester City, replacing players that had already won the league at Manchester City as well. So already had a great basis of a squad, the likes of De Bruyne and Sterling already there, and then adding and company and all that adding to it. So the only question, and he could answer it, I'm not saying he's definitely not in his nature to do it.
Yeah.
Could he take over a Bournemouth and bring them up and keep them in and push them into the top 10? Because if he could, I almost think that on some levels is more impressive than winning the league with City. He's done it in a mad style and he's done it very dominantly, but it's almost a bit...
Is that 2 separate entities, that though? Because doing that thing of building a team like Bournemouth and bringing them, like you said, that's impressive. Yeah. But maintaining a very, very high standard at a big club is also impressive, because we've already seen that's quite hard to do as well.
It is,
like
but he's got 2 11s.
Yeah.
How easy would that have been?
Nah, I do get you. And someone did say someone literally put in a comment saying a good...
Pashal says, Poch bought 27 players at Spurs, what you smoking? Google it, you fucking idiot. Go and have a look yourself. It's on Transfer Market. Literally list every single player he signed.
Do you know the Alvarez thing? It's true. I might have been a bit disrespectful earlier. They said he looks better than Jesus, but he's not as good as what Aguero was at that age. So he might be in the clear. Because I think Aguero at 21 was a little bit better than what Alvarez is at 21.
Yeah, wasn't he balling at 17 already at Atletico?
Yeah, I think he was playing first team football, starting at like 15, 16, I think, in South America.
David says, so you're saying maintaining City is easy? That's what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm saying.
I actually don't think I disagree. I don't think it is.
I think with the amount of money they're spending, it is. Because you look across the road at Chelsea, who aren't actually spending quite the same, or haven't had the same concentration of spending, and they're still competitive.
Do you know what irks me, though, Steve, when you say that? Is United actually don't spend that much less than City, though?
No,
which is the problem.
We don't, but a lot of ours isn't at the club anymore. You can say United have spent $1 billion, and we have.
That's our fault, then.
Yeah, it is. Because we've been run like fucking idiots. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
My whole point is that we've been run like fucking idiots. We spent $70 million on Lukaku, plays for Chelsea now. We spent 55 million on Di Maria, plays for PSG now. You know, we spent 80 million on Pogba. When was the last time you seen him in a United shirt? Like, all of our money hasn't been spent right. We've just fucking spent it like a fucking pest in a kebab shop.
But also, what my issue is when City buy players that aren't that great for the first 6 months of the year, like we've seen at United, Pep gets the time. Well, he gets the time. I'm gonna have to give him credit, but he does get the time to improve those players, and then he eventually come good. Because Bernardo Silva's a lot better now than he was in the first 12 months. Rodri's developed into probably the best DM in the world when he was shaky for the first year. At United, there's this kind of effect where if you aren't great for the first year or 6 months straight away, you either get sold on or you're done.
Yeah. Look, John Stones got put on ice. Cancelo kind of got put on ice a little bit. Like there's been an adjustment period allowed because of the stability that's been afforded at the club. Now the stability has been afforded partially because they've been winning.
He's helped develop them though.
Yeah,
these players.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I think from what I can gather, from a technical coach point of view, he might be the best out there. He might be, and from a game philosophy kind of way, he's took what Cruyff's done and added his own layers on top of that. Yeah, which is mega impressive. I think he's probably a little bit too married to Plan A. I think they can lose games by not having a Plan B and not knowing how to dig in and be dirty sometimes, which I think you need. But I also think that with the spending, I mean, like Manchester United was extremely dominant over a multiple decade period, winning 13 league titles, and were I think the top spenders 3 times.
Yeah.
We were outspent in the 90s by Manchester City, who got relegated. People talk about United buying the league. We didn't. Just actual fallacy, we didn't. The only time we've actually spent more than anyone in any kind of period is this last unsuccessful period.
The modern day football now is if you are going to win a league, quite often you do have to buy it. I think that's just generally the mode of football at the moment.
And it's only going to get worse as Newcastle enter the fray and start waving their big dick around.
I think, how many years do you think it will be before Newcastle are in this top 4 picture at least?
5.
Yeah.
5. I think they'll make some bad signings, but they'll make some signings that stay there for 10 years.
If we don't get rid of Eddie Howe.
They'll have a couple of, he knows he's just waiting for that payoff.
But his contract is till 2024, isn't it?
It's not a big payoff then, is it?
I'm surprised. I thought Newcastle were going to do that thing of, we're not just going to buy big players, we're going to try and get quite a flashy manager in at the same time. Even though Eddie Howe's just a steady manager, but you don't think big things, do you? But I don't know. I think give it 3-4 years possibly.
It might be. It depends. Like you've got to remember. Who was I trying to explain this to? It was when someone was talking about Celtic and Rangers coming in, and they were like, "Oh, give us that money that the Premier League teams get, and we'll be massive." And I go, "No, you're forgetting. Aston Villa and this is a couple of years ago. Aston Villa and Newcastle have had that money for the last 25 years. They still get relegated from the Premier League."
Yeah.
That is, if we're being real with ourselves, the level of Newcastle and Aston Villa is the level of Rangers and Celtic. Now they might have a slightly bigger worldwide pull, but that's the level. And Rangers and Celtic, yes, they would have a massive cash injection, and yes, they'd probably be a little bit more attractive, or a lot more attractive than they are to come and join now if they played in the Premier League. But they would be no different to the likes of Villa and Newcastle, where they would struggle to break into the top 10. They might do it a couple of years, but playing Europa League on a Thursday and then the Premier League on a Sunday is going to absolutely chew your squad to pieces. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them hovering anywhere between 7th and 18th regularly.
Oh, yeah, because they're going to have probably a hiccup when they start getting European football. And the squad gets really tested, you're right. Yeah.
And then, and they'd be like, yeah, but you give us whatever. Like, listen, those clubs, all of these clubs that have been, Everton, they've had Premier League money forever. They're still fucking garbage. Arsenal, look where they are now. They're just crumbling and crumbling and crumbling. Just having the Premier League TV money alone don't mean shit. You got to have more on top of that to be able to throw it in. And I don't know if they've got that financial pull. Maybe their off-field commercial activity is increased by the sheer fact they're in the Premier League.
The thing with Newcastle is they're starting from further on than City in terms of Newcastle are a bigger club than Manchester City.
They were.
They were. Like, in terms of historically.
Maybe
a little bit. Or where
I think there's more pull of living in Manchester still than there is living in Newcastle. Sorry, anyone who lives in the northeast, but I just think that's
I've got one of my boys has moved there from uni, and he's not had amazing things to say about living in Newcastle. For reasons you might
racismo.
Yeah. At the very least.
Nick says Ten Hag impresses with Klassen, Blind, Tadic and Haller, all Premier League rejects. He's great with youth and a real tactician. Only worry is working with this board. That's a valid criticism and worry for everyone working with this board, because again, they're not pushing for excellence. They're not pushing for what's the best we can achieve. They're pushing with what can we get away with, and that's not good enough.
Yep. And
that's the sad game of it at the end of the day. I wouldn't mind replacing the League Cup though with some sort of British Isles Cup. That'd be class, wouldn't it?
Nah,
add a bit of spice to the League Cup though, wouldn't it?
No, it would. All inclusive.
Harry says, my opinion for United managers: keep Ralph, get Ten Hag, bring back Fergie, and make Ronaldo the next manager.
What, me?
You don't need badges?
I'd be an awful manager, me. Zero patience.
I think there's something extra going on here with Ronaldo. I wouldn't be, not you, Cristiano.
I can see Cristiano as a manager. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's an option. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around United to watch Junior come through, because he's. Do you see that he took him away training with him?
Yeah. Do you think he's got any ambition to kind of like, all right, retired, I'm going to go back, live in Portugal, Madeira, or whatever? Is he comfortable?
I don't know.
Living out the rest in Manchester?
I think he's gonna like his mum lived with him. Remember, everywhere.
Yeah.
I think she still lives with him.
Yeah.
I'm sure. This ain't a 2-bedroom house that they're in. I wouldn't be surprised. He's obviously a family orientated guy. I wouldn't be surprised to see Junior come through and have Ronaldo and his missus living in the house and Ronaldo's mum living in the house. Just a big fucking. I mean, where he's living now in Manchester's hardly a bedsit. Like, if that's his plan, that might be the move. Is to have them.
Oh, his son playing for United might be a thing.
He might have looked and said, I think United's academy. Right or wrong, he might have said, I think United's the best place for him to come through. Real Madrid's not a good, well-known academy for bringing you in. I don't think he enjoyed his time at Juventus. He could come through Sporting Lisbon like I did. I could see that, and that'd be, I think, a good move. But he still might think, I want him to play in the Premier League early, as quick as possible, and United's the way to do that. And he might, have an agreement written in when he signs his first pro that he's guaranteed, 5 games a season, something like that, in his first year. You don't know if that's the negotiations he's starting to have now, because I've heard he's fucking unreal and all.
Well, I have to wait and see. Hopefully.
Him and Rooney in the same team.
What, Kai?
How exciting is that, though, in 5 years' time, to potentially watching Rooney and Ronaldo at United again?
That'd be fucking insane.
If they're as half as good as their dads, we've got 2 absolute ballers.
Scary stuff,
Yeah. Anyway, I guess
Wrapping
that's
up,
us.
aren't we?
Shave your nuts. Go
Wrap
check it
up.
out in the comments. The link is in the description for Manscaped. Go get 20% off and free shipping. It's genuinely good product. So go check it out, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.